Shalom, Boker Tov, Rabbi Eric Solomon. Beautiful day in Raleigh, North Carolina. Day after Purim, also called Shushan Purim. Little morning Torah. So this Torah portion of the week, Tzav, deals with sacrifices. Have to admit, not every bar mitzvah kid is psyched to get a Torah portion from this section of the Torah of Leviticus, because sacrifices, it seems antiquated. Obviously, animals, not so great to see animals sacrifice, things like this. But the word sacrifice, or korban, I mean, it's just so profound. It's so profound that the idea of sacrifice is in the center of the whole Torah, the third of the 5 books. And I based it, as I put it in the hashtags here, beautiful teaching from David Brooks. You know, David Brooks did a great column a number of years ago talking about the difference between a resume perspective on life versus a eulogy perspective on life. And he explains that many people, especially young people, but in general, look at their life as an opportunity to build their resume. You know, I want to attain this degree, or I want to attain this certificate, or get this job, because I want to increase my resume in order to achieve something next. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, not just as David Brooks, but even in Judaism, the ambition, desire, the willingness to kind of succeed, desire to increase one's capacity, to take one's gift that God has given us, the talents, and to bring it forward. I mean, that is a blessing. And that is actually in the mitzvah of Sheshet Yamim, 6 days you shall work, is that you should work. You should try to maximize your God-given potential. So there's nothing wrong with building your resume. However, there is another way of looking at one's life, and that's how to create, so to speak, your eulogy. You know, what will people say about you after you're gone? And if there's one thing I know for sure, after 20 years of being a rabbi, is that there are times at a funeral service where a person will speak of the deceased, give a hesped, where they speak of the person's resume, you know, what they accomplished, you know, how many businesses, or what they did business-wise, and what they did in terms of, you know, their material possessions sometimes, but mostly not. And mostly it's de-emphasized. It's not about, you know, how many square feet your house was, or whether you got the latest new car, or, you know, whether you're the president of some company or not. Frankly, in a eulogy, it's not that important. It might be important for possibly obituary, but not for eulogy. Eulogy is about what you did for others, what you sacrificed, not what you attained, not what you get, but what you gave up in order to do something great for the world and do something great for others. And that's the key message of sacrifices in Torah. You know, if you look at the Torah, the Parashat has all these different descriptions of korbanot and what you should do for different situations, for repentance, for gratitude, for holidays. And it can feel like it gets stuck in the legalism of the Torah. I mean, people's eyes glaze over sometimes. But at its core is the idea that in order to achieve something great, whether it's repentance or gratitude, you have to give something up. That life is not going to be measured. Consumer culture might tell you, in American consumer culture, by what you get. You know, whoever has the most toys wins type idea. That's in the atmosphere. But that's a vapid life. What life is to be achieved is by what you give up. Who you are is what you're willing to give up in order to achieve something greater. Give up for others, for family members, for friends, for community. You know, being the leader of a congregation, being a president of a congregation, being on the board. I know some people think, well, it's ego. And believe me, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of grief. Making decisions people don't like. But people do it because they want to serve, because they want to sacrifice, give something up, give up their time. Because they want to serve God, the Torah, the Jewish people, the United States, Israel. They want to make a difference. And so they're willing to give something up of themselves in order to do something great. So I leave this for you. This Torah portion, Tzav, all these parshas coming up as we approach Pesach, about sacrifices, a lot of them. And don't miss the real beauty, spiritual depth in the middle of it, is that see yourself, what is a way that I can give up? Like Moshe. Moses' life was not defined by being in the palace with Pharaoh, all the gems, all the gold. It's about what he gave up in order to free our people. That's the model. Sacrifice is the key to a life well lived, the Torah tells us. Shabbat Shalom. And may we all find ways to sacrifice in proper ways this Shabbat and the week to come. Kol Tuv.